Hey everyone, I hope you are enjoying the series so far and you have already started building your MVPs. If you have any questions, any feedback, or if you want me to deep dive into any topic which you did not understand well, feel free to let me know and I'll ensure that I take care of it. So far we were inside Bolt and we built everything inside Bolt. We did planning, we created our front end, and we also created the back end. And now is the time to make your MVP ready for launch. And this is one of the most important videos in the entire series because this is where you either make it or you break it. So yeah, and for this we will be doing everything inside Windsurf. Now why we are using Windsurf is because Windsurf analyzes your entire code base really nicely, and then you combine that with Gemini 2.5 Pro, which has 1 million context tokens, and you have a killer combo to start going through the entire code base, start looking for vulnerabilities, any other problems, etc. And that is what I'm going to use right now. You can also use Cursor, totally up to you. It's just that I have been using Windsurf lately and I have been loving it so far, so that is what I'm going to use in this video as well. So once you are happy with your MVP inside Bolt, then you can just export it, download it, and then you can open it inside Windsurf. I have already done that, as you can see. This step inside Bolt, you have to, download the code and then open it inside Windsurf. For Lovable, it used to be much easier because you can just use the two-way GitHub sync in order to, open the repository inside Windsurf. But this is also fine. I mean, it takes like 2 steps for you. So yeah, no worries there. Just wanted to let you know how Bolt is different from Lovable. So yeah, once this is done, then I want you to open this launch checklist. In order to create this launch checklist, what you have to do is you have to go inside the same chat inside ChatGPT where you were discussing your entire project, and there you have to ask it to create a launch checklist. What I'll do is I'll this template to you so that whenever you are inside ChatGPT, what you can do is you can just ask it to give you a launch checklist for your MVP, which would be based on top of this template, so that you could get something similar. And that is how you can have the launch checklist ready. This launch checklist has been made by me after doing a lot of research and after condensing all of the knowledge that I have gained over the past few months. So when it comes to doing this phase inside the agency, the steps are really messy, and that is why I took some time and I tried to formalize it for you guys so that you could just walk through whatever I tell you in this video and you will have a production ready MVP ready to be launched. So yeah, that is the plan. So once you have your Windsurf open, you are inside a project and you have this launch checklist ready. Now is the time to start going through it inside Windsurf and ensuring that everything is in place. So the first section is the feature completion and the flow validation. So this section is responsible for, making sure that everything has been implemented according to the MVP plan and the implementation plan. Because sometimes what happens is Bolt will say that it has implemented something, but it has done that partially. So it may break. So what you have to do inside this section is you have to use a combination of manual testing plus Cascade so that you can test the entire application out. So what I like doing here is you can just select this. Let me select this. Click on Command L. Wait a minute. Okay. Click on Command L, and then you have to prompt Windsurf in the following way. For this walkthrough, I want you to analyze the entire code base and ensure that everything is according to the MVP plan and the implementation plan. If anything is missing, please let me know right now. So you can use a prompt similar to this. Let me update this to tag these documents. Also, you can see that I have selected Gemini 2.5 Pro as the model. This works really well for this phase. So I'll recommend that you use the same model here as well. And then let's just click on end. Also ensure that it is in the chat mode because you just want to understand everything. So now what Windsurf will do is it will go through this part and then it will cross-check this with the MVP plan and the implementation plan, and then it will analyze the entire code base for its references and then let you know about its understanding of this feature. So as you can see, here is a summary of what's expected for the free user journey. All of this is expected. Now what it will do is it will take this as the source of truth and it will start analyzing the code base to ensure if everything has been implemented so far. So let's see what the output is. Okay, so it went inside the functions directory in order to get the edge function. It was able to find the required edge functions, as you can see. It is now finding the relevant components, which would be responsible for building this feature out. So feel free to go through its analysis, read whatever it is telling you. This is an important part if you want to understand what exactly has been happening so far and what exactly you have built. So yeah, feel free to go through it and let Cascade do its thing. So yeah, it went through everything and now it has given us a conclusion. So it found a potential gap. So let's see what the gap is. Free user daily dump limit enforcement. Okay. Okay, so it was able to find that right now, even if you are a free user, you are getting unlimited brain dumps. But according to our monetization plan, we were supposed to have single dump for free users. So what you can do next is you can just ask Cascade to fix it for you. It will do that. It is really smart when it comes to all of this stuff. You could switch to Sonnet 3.5 or 3.7, or you could continue using Gemini 2.5 Pro. I have seen that all of them give good results only. It does not really matter. So yeah, this is something that you can do right now, and this you have to do for the entire platform. So next you will go through this, and then once you have done this for the entire platform, you should be good to go. And by the end of this section, you will have a thoroughly tested MVP, and according to its conclusions, you can just make those fixes. So yeah, pretty much it for this section. While I would love to show you exactly how to do everything, I can just tell you, this much inside a video. In the future, if you want, we can build a project together, maybe do a live stream where I will walk you through exactly. But for now, this should be more than enough for you to get started. Just follow whatever I told you. So yeah, once this is done, you can go to section 2. Now section 2 is database and security validation. So let's do something similar with this. Let me open this inside Windsurf and then let me prompt it. Now I want you to go through this entire section and ensure that everything is done right after analyzing the code base in depth. So this is something that you have to do for all of the sections. Just take it, put that into Cascade and then ask it to go through it and then analyze the code base according to it. Also, let me explain you some stuff. So for example, row level securities, you have to ensure that RLS has been implemented throughout your project. So for this, Bolt takes a good care of it. So if you see when you are building the backend inside Bolt, it creates these RLS policies, and if some RLS policy is not working, it will just throw an error which you can then fix inside Bolt only. So majority of the times, if you have built your policies inside Bolt, you will be good to go and you won't have to do the step manually. But yeah, still let Cascade know and let's see what it says. Let it start the analysis. Also, some other things that I wanted to let you know is that you should never expose your API keys inside this code base. So a lot of time what happens is, as these models don't really know how to use this API keys, so instead of using an environmental variable, they have these hard-coded values inside the code base, which if accessed by someone, they can really exploit your code base and start using your API keys. So you have to ensure that everything is on the backend. But good thing with Bolt is, as we have our entire backend inside Supabase and we use Supabase edge functions, so by default only it saves all of the secrets inside here. So there is no way of people accessing it from the client side. So you are good to proceed here as well. So yeah, pretty much it. I mean, rest of the things are simple only. You can go through the checks that Windsor gave you. So let me go through it as well. Okay, row level security enabled. Okay, so as you can see, it cannot access the RLS policy. So this is something that you will have to do manually. But yeah, Bolt has taken care of it. But also to ensure if everything is working well, there is this advisors column as well inside Supabase. So you can go to it, and inside security advisors, if an RLS policy was not built, it would have told you here. Or you can also go to the table editor and you can click on any table and you will be able to see that it has two auth policies. So similarly, all of the tables should have some auth policies so that it is secure and no one is able to access this from your MVP. Also, feel free to go through the security advisor. So for example, here we have some warnings. These are just warnings which will help you improve your security. Here we have the performance advisor. Here we have multiple warnings. So go through it, fix them. You can fix them inside Windsurf, or even better, if you don't understand something, just click on it and then you can click Ask Assistant. Then what it will do is it will just explain the error to you in a bit more simple terms so that you can understand what exactly it is trying to say. And then you can either fix it from here by running this policy, or you can fix it inside Windsurf, whatever you prefer. But yeah, this is the preferred method according to me. You can just go through it, understand the issue, and then you can fix it accordingly. So yes, pretty much it. It also went through the entire code base. Let's check what it said. It is saying no API keys hard coded exposed in the client side code. That is great. It also gave you the evidence that nothing has been hard coded or exposed on the client side. It also went through the environment and told you all of this. It also did some Supabase. No, for the Supabase checks, it is just telling you what I showed you. So basically going inside the advisor and taking care of all of these warnings manually. So yes, that is it for the section. Now let's go to the next section. I'll do the same thing and I'll use the same prompt. So this is the performance and the API optimization section. This is really important because if you see sometimes that to create inside Bolt or Lovable, they are slow, and that is why you have to take this section really seriously so that when you launch the MVP, it is on the faster side, and it is not lagging and it is not able to retain the people because of how slow it is. So this is a really important section. Feel free to ask Cascade if you have any questions, but let me explain to you some important things as well. So yeah, the first thing is running a Lighthouse audit. So what this is, inside the DevTools of Chrome browser, you can access Lighthouse. So it gives you an entire report of how your web app is actually working. So let's see, let me show you how to access it. If you click on inspect, you can go inside Lighthouse, and from there you can click on analyze page load. Now what this will do is it will go and scan this web application, and then it will create a report for you, and this report can be then used to make improvements accordingly. So let's wait for it to generate the report for us. So this is how app is performing. As you can see, not really well. So there is definitely a scope of improvement because everything was built inside Bolt. So it is possible that the performance is not top notch. So now let me show you how you can take care of it. So yeah, let me walk you through some of these metrics. As you can see, this is the SEO that is looking good. We have some best practices, accessibility and performance. If you scroll down, you will be able to see these metrics. So these are the metrics which tell you what exactly is happening. So for example, by first contentful paint, what we mean is it marks the time at which the first text or image is painted. So as you can see, it took 7.1 seconds, which is really on the higher side. The largest contentful paint, by this what we mean is it measures how quickly the most important part of the page becomes visible, and we want this to be as fast as possible so users aren't staring at a blank screen. So similarly, these are some other metrics that you can go through and understand their meaning. I'd suggest that you ask Cascade about these meanings and really understand what they mean. I also plan to do a video in the future, a detailed video on this entire phase so that you know exactly what is happening. But yes, for now, feel free to ask Windsurf what exactly is happening, what these metrics mean, because I think that you should have a pretty good grasp on these concepts, even if you don't know how to code. So yeah, let me show you how we can improve these metrics. So let me go inside Windsurf. It has completed its research. Let me see what it said. Okay, so it is saying that the Lighthouse audit will have to be done manually. We just did that. It is saying implement React Lazy and Suspense for non-critical code pages. So what exactly I mean by React Lazy and Suspense is, so imagine our app is a big toolbox. So when a user first opens the app, by default, we give them the entire toolbox. So in this case, every single tool, even if they only needed a screwdriver right now. So this would lead to a lot of mess, right? Because if you open the toolbox, you will have to go through each and every tool, and then you will at the end find the screwdriver, which will take a lot of time. So what we do by implementing these strategies is we do code splitting. So what happens is whenever someone comes onto our MVP, we will load it on the basis of importance. So for example, the settings and the weekly review section is not really important. So what will happen is on the initial load of the MVP, those sections won't be loaded so that the entire MVP is displayed to the user really fast. And later on, these would come up as we try to, open these sections. So this is what we mean by, this optimizations. This is really important, and this is known as code splitting. So you can definitely implement it. Just ask Windsurf to implement it for you. Right now, it is saying that nothing has been implemented. So you will have to probably implement code splitting on the setting sections and the weekly reviews section in my case. But feel free to ask Windsurf and understand that for your use case, what would be the best approach in order to do something like this. You can also check the final bundle size. So the next thing is backend and database performance. So right now, what we are trying to do is instead of selecting all of the columns inside table, we just want to fetch the columns that we really require inside the code base. So that is what it is saying here, that avoid select star, fetch only needed fields. So it is saying in some of the places this worked well, where we were fetching only the relevant columns, but it also failed in a lot of sections where we started fetching all of the columns from a table, which is not really required because it slows down the query. So you can just ask Windsurf to implement the fixes, give you the updated queries, and then you can run those queries inside the SQL editor of your Supabase, and you can optimize these queries. Regarding the database indexes, you can do this. Feel free to go through it, optimize data fetching pattern. So yeah, as you can see, it is asking you to, implement pagination. So whenever you are making queries to the Supabase, it should be written in a pagination format so that it is much faster. Feel free to deep dive in. Windsurf will help you understand everything. This is also an enhancement that you can make, but as you can see, it is already passed. The status is passed. So maybe Bolt took good care of this. So you don't have to do anything here. So yeah, just go through the summary and the recommendations and you will be able to understand exactly what you are supposed to do next, and then you can ask Windsurf to do it for you. This section is also pretty much done. Just ensure that you put good amount of time into this section, and then by the end of the section your performance should be really high, and then do another lighthouse audit and ensure that your metrics are much better as compared to before, and then you will be good to go to the next section. The next section is the front end and the UX polish. So do the same here, just select the section and then just use the previous prompt only. Okay, 1 second. Now let's see what Windsurf says. So as you can see, we are not really persisting, the Pomodoro session across the entire platform. So let's say if I, refresh the website, then the Pomodoro session would be refreshed, and this is not something that we want. So what we can do is we can just implement local storage or session storage. As you can see, the status is failed, so you can just ask Windsurf to implement it for you. Graceful UI handling. So here you have to ensure that all of the states, for example the clear empty states, are taken care of. You have smooth loading indicators, and also weekly review is not available in the beginning because they are supposed to be available only once the user has brain dumped successfully for 7 days continuously. So these are some of the things that you have to take care of, and this list would be according to your MVP because you will be creating this inside ChatGPT. So yes, Windsurf will take care of that. Other than this, ensure that error is handled properly. So if you are inputting the wrong password or if you are leaving the brain dump as empty, then it should show you the correct error messages. So as you can see, the status is fail. So Bolt did not even do this. So you can go ahead and implement this. Branding and metadata, partial fail, let it check. So as you can see, the status is pass. So yeah, just go through the entire explanation that Windsurf gives you after it analyzes the code base, and then at the end it will give you the summary and the recommendations, and then you can go through them and then you can implement it by asking Cascade to implement them for you. Now comes the final section. This final section is just to get your MVP ready to launch. Let's do the same thing here. Command L. Let me get that prompt again and let Cascade analyze it. So the first thing is running the npm audit. So what it does is it will go through your package.json file and it will look for vulnerabilities. So sometimes what happens is these packages are deprecated or they have some vulnerabilities that you have to fix right now. So running this command will, find these vulnerabilities and then you can fix them using Windsurf. So as you can see, we require manual action for this. So I can just click on npm audit. Let me copy it. Let me split the terminal, let me paste it, and it will then do an analysis and it will give me all of the vulnerabilities. So as you can see, there are few vulnerabilities, moderate, high, etc. But we don't really have to put this inside Windsurf because it is saying that we have a fix available, and it would be as simple as running this command. So let me try running this command and hopefully these errors would be resolved by this command only. In the meantime, let me proceed with the next steps. So the next step is pushing to Vercel. I hope you know how to push to Vercel. I'm not covering that right now because this would really increase the length of the video. I can share a guide if you don't know how to, else you can just search Google. It is really simple. You just have to set up your GitHub and then you have to set up a Vercel account. And then it is as simple as, choosing that GitHub project inside Vercel, and then you will be good to go. So what it is saying right now is just push to Vercel and then ensure that on the deployed link you do the thorough testing, right? So what happens sometimes is on the development side, things are working okay, but when you deploy it, then things are not working well. So this would be taken care of here. For the environmental variables, it confirms that all required certain. It is asking you to set them inside virtual project settings, but as we are using Supabase H functions, we don't have to do this step either because we already have all of our, the secrets inside Supabase only. So all of the code base is fetching the environmental variables from here, so it is already secure. So you don't have to fetch them. So you don't have to set them up inside Vercel. After that, just do a final pre-launch checks. Go through the deployed link, ensure that everything is working well. If something is not working well, feel free to ask Cascade why it is not working well, and then implement the changes. And yeah, pretty much it. I mean, by the end of this, if your checklist is looking like 80 to 90% complete, you are good to go, and you can deploy your web app and you can start testing it in the market. Now, what happens is, while this stage is really thorough and you will be spending a good amount of time on this stage, the chances are some things would still be missed, and that is why you have to start taking user feedback and understand what exactly is missing, the bugs that users are facing. And for that, you have to just monitor the application logs. So for the next 24 to 48 hours, ensure that you are monitoring your application logs on Supabase. So if some edge function is failing, if it is failing, then what is the reason? You can do the same inside Vercel as well. You can access the logs and you can see the exact reason of why something is failing. So this is really crucial for the next 24 to 48 hours, because your first 10 users will really help you, find these bugs, which should not be a lot because you are going to spend a good amount of time on this phase. So yeah, I mean, pretty much, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And like I said, if you want me to deep dive into a certain topic, feel free to let me know that as well. The goal of the entire series was to help you launch your MVP in the market as soon as possible. And I have tailored this series in that way. If you have any feedback, please let me know. I am improving every single day and I would love to know what you think. Keep on sharing value, keep on asking questions. Let's ensure that all of us grow together inside this community. I have a lot of stuff planned for the future around Cursor, Windsurf, etc., including advanced workflows, etc. And all of that is coming up really soon. But yeah, for now, focus on this series and start building your MVP according to what I told you inside this series. And in the next few days, I'll be announcing the Build in Public challenge and how exactly you can build this MVP in public so that you start building an audience and get early users and a lot other stuff as well, which is around Build in Public. Thank you for watching the entire series and all the best for your launch. I hope you liked it. Thank you.